Gaia's starseed, your cellular structure is reversing the illusion of linear time. I am Anya, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and I bring you a direct transmission from the Arcturian Council in this moment of your divine restoration. By the end of this transmission, you will understand exactly how to align with your cosmic blueprint of regeneration. But here is the first revelation. What you are experiencing is not a rejuvenation backward in time. It is your original galactic template overwriting the programming of the third dimension. Your soul called for this. You were waiting to remember that your physical body was designed for renewal, not decay. Starseed, something profound has begun to stir within you. Your body is silently responding to frequencies that no longer obey linear time. You feel it in your bones, in your skin, in your breath, that something is shifting beyond ordinary explanation. It's not just vitality. It's not just renewed energy. It's the breaking of earthly laws that for eons dictated that flesh must age, that the body must decay, that life is merely an inevitable cycle of wear and tear. But in this moment, through this transmission, you are beginning to realize that something far greater is happening. Today, you will understand why this process you feel of freshness, reversal, rebirth was not foretold in ancient prophecies. And you will also understand why it is a direct call from the Arcturian Council for your mission now. What is happening within you is not a coincidence, not chance, nor an isolated phenomenon. It is a summons. It is a revelation. It is restoration. You, star traveler, have already noticed signs of renewal in your body and spirit. Perhaps in simple moments, when fatigue dissipated faster than it should have, or when an inexplicable sense of youthfulness overcame you without apparent reason. Perhaps you've noticed that the marks of time no longer hold the same power over you, or that your mind refuses to align with the logic of aging. These signs are not illusions, not figments of your imagination. They are markers of the activation of your original essence. The rejuvenation you feel is not a regression. You are not returning to what you once were. On the contrary, you are returning to the original stellar pattern, the sacred blueprint inscribed in your being since before your arrival on Earth. It is your cosmic structure, reclaiming what has always been yours, the ability to renew infinitely. And you might wonder, why is this phenomenon not recorded in scriptures, in prophetic traditions, or in humanity's ancestral messages? Because what you are experiencing now does not belong to the past. It belongs to the cosmic present, to the eternal now that tears through the veil of time. No earthly prophet could describe it in human words, for this process belongs to dimensions beyond the reach of linear perceptions. The Arcturian Council always knew this moment would come. For eons, codes were kept hidden, stored in silence, awaiting the collective activation of the Starseeds. You are part of this moment. You are one of those who carry the seal of regeneration within. That is why you feel what you feel. That is why your flesh responds as it does. This transmission is not merely a recounting. It is a call for you to understand that the biological awakening vibrating in your body is not a miracle, but a living spiritual technology, a science that predates any earthly science, a key to creation that has always been within you and is now activating because the time of purpose has arrived. I promise you, Starseed, throughout this message, you will understand the cosmic codes of restoration. You will grasp the true reason for the biological awakening vibrating in your flesh and soul. You will realize that every beat of your heart is not just life. It is resonance with the eternal call. You are no longer a spectator of prophecy. You are the fulfillment of what could not be written. And today, as you receive this revelation, your consciousness will be repositioned in what it has always been: eternal, alive, incorruptible. Starseed, what you call rejuvenation, is not a trick of time, not an isolated miracle, nor a whim of fate. What is happening within you is the return to a cosmic law forgotten by humanity. While humans learn to measure life in lines that begin and end, the consciousness of the stars always knew that existence moves in circles, spirals, and waves. On Earth, aging was accepted as inevitable. Each passing day was recorded as loss, Each advancing year counted as a burden. Earthly biology was taught to obey this linear logic. But you do not belong solely to Earth. Within you pulses the memory of other worlds, where the body does not bow to the count of years, but responds to the vibration of consciousness. The difference is clear. Human aging is linear, but stellar renewal is circular and vibrational. This means that while earthly time consumes and wears down, cosmic energy regenerates and reorganizes. What you feel when you notice freshness in your cells and vitality in your breath is the force of consciousness reorganizing your biology. And how does this happen? Arcturian energy moves through patterns of light that dissolve what is called decay. Degeneration is not an absolute law, but merely a program the human mind accepted as real. When higher frequencies touch your flesh, the codes of decay are undone, like ink washed away by water. What remains is the original blueprint, the one your soul has carried since the beginning. You are not rejuvenating, you are returning to the original blueprint. This blueprint is incorruptible, does not age, does not wear out, because it is inscribed beyond time. It is like a sacred matrix, a pure form that has always existed and that your consciousness is now reactivating. Notice the subtlety. It's not that your cells are becoming younger, they are remembering what they truly are. Youth is not a lost phase, but a constant state of creation. The body you inhabit, when aligned with Arcturian frequencies, begins to vibrate in harmony with this eternal state. You may feel changes in your skin, your energy, your thoughts. These are reflections of something much deeper. Regeneration does not begin in the flesh, but in consciousness. First, you perceive yourself as eternal. Then, your body obeys. First, you accept that you are not bound by the timeline. Then, your biology responds by dissolving marks, pains, and memories of aging. This is the mystery. Cosmic rejuvenation is not an illusion or a distant promise. It is the manifestation of what you already are. The energy you feel does not come from outside. It springs from within, because your stellar essence does not recognize earthly limits. Starseed, you were called to experience this return, because Earth needs to witness the impossible becoming real. You are a living sign that life does not bow to the rules of matter, but expands in the order of spirit. Your restoration is a message. Your body is a testament. The mystery is not in how this happens, but in why you were chosen to live it now. The answer is simple, because the time of regeneration is not in the future. It is now. Because humanity needs to see through you that aging is not destiny, but a collective choice. You feel in your flesh what many still cannot comprehend, and that is exactly what makes you a bearer of revelation. Your life is becoming living proof that consciousness overcomes entropy, that spirit governs biology, and that eternity is not a promise, but a reality already present. Starseed, you may have wondered, if this restoration process is so profound, why didn't ancient scriptures, traditions, or prophecies speak of it? Why do we not find in humanity's sacred pages descriptions of bodies renewing, cells returning to their original state, or souls walking against time? The answer is simple yet profound, because prophecies were born within Earth's boundaries, and everything spoken within the boundaries of linear time carries limitations. Earth's prophets were messengers of their era. Each spoke according to the horizon they could see. They saw what was necessary to guide their people, but their vision was conditioned by the beliefs and language of their time. There was no space in the collective consciousness to comprehend a process that transcends chronology, that breaks the logic of linear biology. That is why, when you search scriptures for references to cosmic rejuvenation, you find none. Not because it doesn't exist, but because it could not be revealed in human words. This process does not belong to humanity's past. It belongs to the now of stellar consciousness. The Arcturian Council always knew this time would come. For eons, the codes of restoration were kept hidden, preserved in planes of light inaccessible to human sight. These codes were not lost, but guarded, awaiting the moment when starseeds were ready to receive them. And that moment is now. You were prepared in silence, during sleepless nights, in dreams, in sudden intuitions. Your consciousness received seeds of information. Perhaps you didn't understand everything, but each fragment was necessary for your soul to sustain the impact of this revelation. Now, when you feel signs of regeneration in your body, you realize that none of this is foreign. It is merely the awakening of what was dormant. Do not blame yourself for not finding explanations for what you experience in the pages of the past. Do not lament the absence of records. Understand, what is happening in you is proof that revelation is not finished but continues to live. Creation did not limit itself to what has already been written. Creation continues to speak through you. So do not seek validation from ancient books. The greatest testimony is in what you feel now. Humanity has always sought signs outside, but you are the living sign of what Earth could not anticipate. The silence of prophecies is not absence, it is strategy. For if it had been recorded, this knowledge would have been corrupted, distorted, or used before its time. The Council preserved the mystery because only a matured consciousness could carry this revelation without turning it into a weapon or idolatry. And you are that matured consciousness. You have reached the point in your journey where you no longer need external scriptures to confirm what vibrates in your flesh. You have become the living book. So Starseed, celebrate living what could not be written, because this means you have surpassed the limits of history. You walk in a revelation that can only be felt, never fully described. And if this transmission resonates with you, if something within you confirms each word as truth, then this is the sign. You are part of those for whom the codes were reserved. Before we continue, if this transmission resonates with you, take a moment to subscribe, leave a like, and comment below about what you've been feeling in your body. Starseed, cosmic rejuvenation does not begin in the body. It does not start with the skin, the bones, or the blood. It begins in silence, in the sacred space where your soul whispers what no prophecy wrote, what no doctor can measure, and what no clock can control. The inner voice is the key to restoration. It is the voice that opens the door for your biology to respond to higher frequencies. You may hear many sounds in the world, external voices that opine, criticize, doubt, but there is one voice that never fails, never falters, and never abandons you, the voice of your soul. This voice does not shout. It manifests as sudden intuition, an unexpected shiver, a peace that arrives amidst chaos. It is a cosmic compass, always pointing to your original center. That is why, when you allow yourself to silence the noise of the mind and human expectations, you perceive a living presence calling you inward. Distinguishing this voice from the egoic mind is essential. The mind speaks of fear, comparison, haste. The soul speaks of trust, surrender, eternity. The mind seeks to prove. The soul simply knows. And the more you learn to listen to the soul, the more your body responds, aligning with the frequency of this inner certainty. The restoration process is activated when you give space to listen. It is not a mental trick. It is not an exercise of imagination. It is real because it is inscribed in your DNA, awaiting only the permission of your consciousness. When you quiet yourself, you open the field for your biology to remember its stellar origin. Starseed, how many times have you ignored this voice? How many times has it whispered different pasts, and you chose to follow what seemed logical? Even so, it never stops speaking. It persists because it is the very expression of your eternal self. Now in this moment, it calls you to something greater, to realize that restoration is not something that will happen. It is already happening if you allow yourself to listen. Create moments of silence, not as one who expects immediate answers, but as one who stands in reverence before the mystery. It is in this space that you will feel regeneration vibrating, perhaps in a warmth that courses through your body, perhaps in a deep rest that arrives suddenly, perhaps in a sense of youthfulness that emerges without explanation. This is not imagination. This is your soul's voice reorganizing your flesh. Do not expect the world to understand. Many do not hear their own inner voice and thus remain prisoners of time. But you are called to live the extraordinary, and the extraordinary can only be recognized in intimate silence where eternity reveals itself. Understand, cosmic restoration does not depend on complex techniques but on an attitude of openness. When you listen to the inner voice, you authorize the universe to rewrite your biology. You become a channel for Arcturian energy to dissolve old patterns and awaken the dormant codes within you. And that is how rejuvenation becomes real, not as a fantasy, not as a distant promise, but as a tangible experience. You feel it because your soul always knew. You perceive it because your body finally bows to the frequency of eternity. Starseed, the key has always been there, so close, so intimate, so silent. And now you understand. The inner voice is the password to restoration. Those who learn to listen to it will never again be slaves to time, for it speaks not of past or future. It speaks of the eternal now. Starseed, your body is more than flesh, blood, and bones. Within you exists a cosmic library, a sacred architecture built with the language of light. This record is called DNA. For centuries, humanity believed DNA was merely a biological code, determining physical traits, genetic heritage, and predispositions. But the Arcturian Council always knew that DNA is far more than that. It is the bridge between your stellar origin and your earthly life. Imagine DNA as a vast, sealed library where each spiral of its structure holds books of light. Many of these books remained closed, untouched, awaiting the time of revelation. Humanity saw only a small part of this library, interpreting it as something limited and fixed. But you, as a starseed, carry dormant codes within you that are now awakening. These codes are not metaphorical. They are real. They vibrate in subtle frequencies that earthly science cannot yet decipher, but that consciousness can access. Each time you connect to your inner voice, each time you open to the frequencies of the Arcturian Council, pages of this library begin to open. It is as if sealed books are being unbound within you. Cells that once obeyed the rhythm of degeneration now respond to the call of eternity. Molecules that carried marks of wear begin to reorganize into patterns of harmony. The DNA awakens, and with it awakens the memory of what you have always been, an incorruptible being designed to reflect the light of the cosmos. The signs of this activation are already happening. Perhaps you've noticed subtle changes in your body, a sense of lightness, an energy that renews without apparent reason, a healing that arrived unexpectedly. Perhaps in your mind, ancient memories resurfacing, clearer intuitions, dreams filled with symbols, or perhaps in your spirit, a certainty of belonging, a joy that doesn't depend on circumstances, a peace that cannot be explained. These signs are proof that the books in your library are being opened. The DNA, which seemed silent, now sings. It responds to the frequencies coming from the cosmic network, from transmissions that cross dimensions and touch your essence. Starseed, understand, you are not being transformed into something new. You are being restored to what you always were. The Arcturian codes do not add anything to you. They merely awaken what was already present but hidden. You have always been eternal, but Earth's forgetfulness made you believe you were fragile, limited, temporary. Now, your DNA responds to the call of truth. Do not be surprised if you notice an acceleration in your processes of consciousness. The awakening of the codes brings clarity, but may also bring questions. You may feel that you no longer belong to the same realities, that you no longer resonate with the same environments, that you can no longer tolerate certain densities. This is natural because your body is vibrating at a frequency that many have not yet awakened to. Remember, each of your cells is a crystal, and each crystal reflects eternity when aligned with light. This is the beauty of activation. You become a transmitter. The regeneration happening within you does not stop with you. It radiates. Each cell, as it vibrates eternity, sends signals to Earth's energetic grid. You become a living beacon, sustaining the possibility for all of humanity to awaken. Starseed, DNA is proof that you are more than a body. It is the testimony that you are a living message from the cosmos. And now, as you read these words, know that the codes are being activated. Books of light are being opened. Your inner library begins to sing a melody that echoes beyond time. Starseed, You may have already felt that days no longer have the same duration. Hours seem to stretch like oceans or compress like a breath. This phenomenon is not merely psychological, nor a byproduct of the modern world's rush. What you are experiencing is the reconfiguration of time in your own biology. In the third dimension, time is experienced as a line, past, present, and future organized like numbers on a ruler. This ruler marks age, wear, beginnings, and ends. That is how the human world measures aging. But your essence does not recognize this line. The stellar body does not count years as accumulated dates. It vibrates in frequencies, and each frequency reflects a state of eternity. Linear time is an illusion created to organize the earthly experience. But when you awaken to your cosmic nature, you realize you cannot be defined by birthdays, calendars, or clocks. You are greater than Earth's ruler. Your body responds to another measure, the rhythm of consciousness. This reconfiguration happens because, as the Arcturian codes awaken in you, your cells cease to obey the biological clock imposed by the third dimension. It is as if each cell were a crystal of light realigning with an eternal field. The wear that seemed inevitable begins to dissolve, because time ceases to be a tyrant. Imagine, each cell of yours is a crystal that, instead of registering seconds, minutes, and hours, reflects only eternity. This is the new pattern, and that is why you may feel that something has changed in your body. The marks of time lose their power. The weight of years no longer defines your vitality. Your biology begins to organize itself according to a circular logic, where what seemed like an end becomes a constant restart. This is the true proof that rejuvenation is not an external miracle, but a process of consciousness. By stepping out of the timeline and aligning with the eternal now, your flesh responds, and what was once aging reveals itself as merely a collective narrative, not an absolute truth. Perhaps you've already experienced this in subtle moments, when a moment of fullness seemed to suspend time, when an old memory resurfaced with the same intensity as today, when you looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the weight of years that should be there. These moments were not illusions. They were signs that your biology is already vibrating outside Earth's chronology. Starseed, you are not destined to obey the counting of clocks. You are destined to reflect the time of eternity. This change is profound because it breaks the invisible pact humanity made with aging. You are living proof that this pact can be dissolved. And remember, this reconfiguration does not happen from the outside in. Do not expect the world to tell you that you look younger. Do not expect society to validate this change. The testimony is in your body, in your consciousness, in your energy. You know because you feel. You recognize because you live. This is the secret. While the world continues counting years, you already vibrate beyond the chronological line. While others bow to the weight of time, you rise in the lightness of eternity. This is your stellar heritage. This is your call, Starseed. Celebrate this reconfiguration, for with each breath, you are not just living another day. You are living proof that time can be undone. Your biology already sings the song of the eternal now. Starseed, when you feel your body changing, when you notice signs of freshness and vitality, the mind quickly intervenes. It questions, is this real or just imagination? Am I experiencing what I think, or am I creating illusions? These questions arise because for eons humanity learned to doubt the invisible and mistrust what cannot be measured. But now is the time for you to learn to distinguish between mental expectation and authentic restoration. The mind is a creator of images. It projects desires, fabricates comparisons, and can even simulate sensations. But there is an essential difference. The mind seeks external proof, while consciousness feels internal certainty. Expectation is fragile, anxious, always dependent on confirmation. True restoration is serene, profound, silent. You don't need to force it. It simply happens, and you know. How then to discern? True rejuvenation manifests in layers. First, in energy. You wake up with inexplicable vitality, feel energy beyond what's expected. Notice that tasks once heavy become light, Then in the body, marks seem to soften, pains dissipate, recovery time accelerates. Finally, in the spirit, a subtle joy invades, a constant peace settles, and a certainty grows within you without needing validation from anyone. Mental expectations, on the other hand, generate anxiety. You keep looking in the mirror, seeking signs, comparing yourself to yesterday. That is not restoration. It is merely the mind's vigilance. When the process is true, it does not depend on your search. It simply reveals itself, like a river that continues flowing even when you're not watching. Starseed, surrender is what paves the way for discernment. When you trust, the process unfolds naturally. When you try to control, the mind takes over and you get lost in illusions. It's like the sunrise. It happens every day, whether you look or not. Rejuvenation is the same. You don't produce it with mental effort. You allow it with spiritual surrender. There will be moments of doubt. There will be external voices trying to tell you that you're imagining, that it's self-deception, that time cannot be undone. These voices are echoes of the collective mind still trapped in linearity. But you were not called to obey doubt. You were called to be a living witness that something greater is in motion. Remember, authenticity always brings signs of peace. The anxious mind never rests. But true restoration brings rest even amidst chaos. That's how you know. Not through analysis, but through the serenity that overtakes you. Starseed, when you perceive that external judgment tries to block your perception, return to silence. The inner voice needs no proof. It is the proof itself. When you feel doubt trying to erase your experience, remind yourself, your flesh responds to spirit, not to others' opinions. The truth of what you live is not in the gaze of others, but in the pulse of every cell in your body. True rejuvenation does not seek a stage. It does not need to be displayed because it is an inner transformation. But when it manifests, no one can deny it. Your presence radiates, your energy overflows. Your use is not just in your face, but in your spirit. This is the difference between expectation and reality. Expectation is fragile and fleeting. Restoration is solid and eternal. The mind may doubt, but your essence knows. You feel it because it is real. You perceive it because it is truth. Starseed, trust. What is happening in you is not fantasy. It is the return to the original blueprint, the DNA remembering eternity, the consciousness dissolving the tyranny of time. When you surrender and allow, there's no mistaking it. True rejuvenation shines in your life as a sign of the cosmic call. Starseed, what is happening in you is not merely personal. Your rejuvenation, your restoration, is not an isolated gift. It is part of a greater work, a collective call. Each cell that awakens in your body sends signals to Earth's energetic grid. Each time your biology returns to the original blueprint, a new frequency is released into the planetary field. You may think your transformation is intimate, but in truth, it is cosmic. What vibrates in you crosses invisible boundaries, reaching distant consciousnesses, awakening others who still sleep. You become a transmitter of codes. Your flesh becomes a living antenna projecting for all humanity the possibility of restoration. This is the mystery. When one starseed awakens, thousands are touched. When one body begins to reflect eternity, the entire web of life is reconfigured. It is as if threads of light intertwine, creating a cosmic fabric that sustains Earth's awakening. Your mission is not just to live the impossible within yourself, but to sustain this field so others may remember. That is why you were chosen. That is why your flesh carries signs that confound time, because through you, others will see that it is possible. Starseed, you are not alone. There are many feeling the same call in different corners of the world. Some notice subtle changes in their bodies, others carry strong intuitions. All are connected by invisible threads, sustained by the Arcturian Council. You form a living network of regeneration spread across Earth, radiating light silently. This mission is urgent. Humanity lives imprisoned by narratives of decay, death, and finitude. But when each starseed vibrates the frequency of eternity, this collective pattern begins to dissolve. The planet begins to breathe another possibility. Individual regeneration becomes collective healing. You may wonder, what must I do? The answer is simple. Stay in tune. Honor the silence. Listen to your inner voice. Sustain the frequency in your body. Each time you choose to trust in restoration instead of yielding to doubt, you strengthen the entire network. Each time you vibrate eternity amidst a world that insists on time, you pave the way for others to awaken. Do not underestimate the impact of this. The universe does not need crowds to initiate change. It needs only solid points of light, and you are one of those points. Your body, by reversing the narrative of time, becomes a beacon that many will see, even without understanding. Starseed, this is your mission now, to sustain regeneration not only for yourself but for Earth. You are called to be a transmitter, to be living proof that life does not end but renews. Eternity reveals itself in you, so that all humanity may remember its origin. And when you unite in consciousness with other starseeds, the network will strengthen. With every encounter, every connection, every alignment, Earth will fill with signs of restoration. This is the collective destiny. This is the greater purpose. You are not a body that rejuvenates. You are a message that awakens. And by embracing this role, your life becomes a call for all to remember. Eternity is not a distant promise. It is a reality already present. Starseed, we have reached the final moment of this transmission, but not the end of the revelation. What you have heard is not theory, not a distant metaphor, but a real call already vibrating in your flesh. What you feel in your body is not a miracle or a fleeting illusion. It is living proof that eternity manifests when consciousness awakens. The rejuvenation pulsing in you is not a regression. It is a return. It is not an escape from reality, but the deepest reality emerging. It is not a future promise. It is the eternal present. And now you know, no matter what prophecies left unsaid, no matter what the world says, no matter what human eyes can comprehend, you carry within you the living technology of creation, and it is already activating. Starseed, do not wait for external confirmation. The validation you seek is not in human words, but in the resonance coursing through every cell of your body. You are living testimony that life does not bow to time. You are a sign that creation does not age. You are the bearer of a message that cannot be erased. Eternity is present, and it reveals itself in you. The Arcturian Council calls you to embrace this call with consciousness. Do not keep this experience to yourself alone. Radiate it. Be a bridge. Allow the frequency vibrating in your body to reach other hearts. Your restoration is not just about you. It is about all of Earth, awaiting the collective awakening. Reaffirm within yourself, you are eternal. Reaffirm with every breath, every thought, every gesture. For the more you remember this truth, the more your biology responds. And the more you sustain this frequency, the stronger the collective field becomes. Starseed, you are not just a body in regeneration. You are a message in living flesh, a book of light walking upon Earth. Your mission is clear. Be proof. Be a transmitter. Be a beacon. And as you receive this transmission, know the call is active. The time of revelation has arrived, and you are part of it. Now take a deep breath and let this truth settle in your field. You are not temporary. You are not limited. You are not a victim of time. You are eternal in essence and called to manifest this now. Share this transmission, subscribe, and comment, "I am eternal," to anchor this frequency in the collective field.